So when of course, when you blast it and it swells, it also fills the opening below. Like there's
Well,
no open.
yeah, no, I mean, but it's rubblized.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing is when you come in, there's very little blasting, that additional blasting that
Okay.
you need to do, because the material is actually
When you
quite
say rubble, yeah. Okay, I get it. Your
that
fragmentation is.
is
Yeah.
adequate to be able to muck it and haul it
Okay.
and send it up. So it
So
is.
you're using the stress to your advantage
That,
instead of fighting it.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So we're looking at this. It is clearly a much better method of mining for us. It's safer, more
Safer. Yeah.
productive. So we're going from, we were at 800 tons a day is what this mine operated at.
Yeah.
And this past year, we were right at 1,000 tons. This year, we should be at around 1,100 tons. Next year, we should be probably at 1,200. And we're on the silver shaft,
Yeah.
which you might recall, which is our shaft from surface that goes down a mile. We're finally putting in the service hoist. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
it's something I've wanted to do for a decade, and it's finally happening.
I've got to tell you a story because the first shaft, when we were up sinking Lac, which became Williams, uh, the the silver shaft was done just before that, and we had a whole crew. Jay and his crew came up from the silver shaft, and Jim Tucker and a few other Paul Pendleton came up from that project, and that crew we called Jay and the Americans. Anyway, I digress, but you might remember the old group, Jay and the American Music Group.
Yeah, that's right. So what we're doing is we're putting in that service hoist in order to increase the throughput of the mine. So theoretically,
Yeah,
you could maybe conceivably go to 1,600 tons a day. Don't think we'll ever
yeah,
get there, but that is the theoretical limit. We we are now disconnecting the mine and the mill. You might recall that the way because the mill had so much more capacity
yeah,
than the mine,
yeah,
it we didn't have any place where we were stockpiling. We were building a bunker as well. So we now have just fundamentally changed the Lucky Friday,
yeah,
and so for the next 20 or 30 years, we've got a great one way. We got other new issues that we'll have as we go deeper, dealing with heat
yeah.
and the ventilation requirements. But as far as the seismicity, we really think we have this settled for at least some period of time.
And I mentioned to you before the show started about my visits up there, and it's such a beautiful part of the world, and I think I shouldn't say a well kept secret because there's some beautiful resorts and there's a
Sure.
tourist industry there, but for anyone that hasn't been up there before, you go up and it's we talked about that, the center of the
That's
universe.
exactly right. Yeah, Wallace, Idaho. They have right in the middle of downtown. They say this is the center of the
Yeah.
universe. Nobody else has claimed it, so they claimed it a long time ago.
And it's historic. There's so much interesting there.
Well, and that's where Hecla, of course, started.
Yep.
Was right there in Wallace, Idaho, 132 years,
Yeah.
and we're still there.
Yeah. So we'll move on because there's lots of things you guys are into, and I want to touch on the operations first before
Sure,
because there was a list of exploration there. We don't have time to go through all that, but and we talked about the Yukon, and
sure.
you're up there now at Keno Hill.
Yeah, that's right. The Keno Hill Mining District. It's probably the second largest silver mining district after the
Yeah.
cobalt district in Canada. Um, it's something we've been interested in for a long time. In 2007, we approached the company Alexco to try to enter into some arrangement with them. They went a different direction, and they did a streaming transaction in order to move the mine forward. And we just found that streaming transaction was problematic to operate the mine, and ultimately so did Alexco as well as Wheaton. And so when the opportunity came to acquire Alexco, we at the same time took the stream out. We purchased the
Okay.
stream,
Yep.
and so there's now no longer any stream at all on this land package. It's 88 square miles. It's a 200 million ounce district. The largest ore body produced right at 100 million ounces. And we're having our predecessor, Alexco, had extraordinary success exploration wise. They really cracked the code. And we're now following up on that, and we've had just great exploration results, and operationally, things are advancing. We've been working at it between us and Alexco for a year of just development, just setting the mine up, and we'll start production in the second half of the year. And we would expect in the first year for it to produce 2.5 million ounces,
Wow.
and probably moving to sort of 4 or 5 million the following year. And it will make Hecla the largest silver producer in Canada. And we'll end up producing maybe 40% of all the silver mined in Canada. And that's on top of the 45% that we do in the US. So
Yeah.